Hey there, good morning everybody. It's Amy Pat T. Colvin coming to you live from my studio space on Samish Island. For those of you, if you've just joined me for the first time, welcome to my business page. Welcome to this brief conversation that we're having every day for 28 days in January. Our theme and our focus is sort of about finding ways to live a more resilient and life filled with peace of mind, coming to that from a place of Taoist philosophy. If you have not tuned in before, some of the topics we've covered in recent days, and you'll see this in the post description, is the idea of patience, tolerance, acceptance, and today we're going to talk a little bit about understanding. If you'd like to learn more about me, go back to the very first day. I talk a little bit about who I am, what I do, and at the high level, I teach compassion meditation from a Taoist perspective. And the reason why I do that is to help people have a more resilient life filled with peace of mind. And I'm coming to it from a place where I have experienced the benefit of Taoist meditation in my own life. The levels of transformations that I've gone through have just been astounding. I used to be quiet, I used to be shy, I used to beat myself up with an invisible cat o' nine tails all the time, prone to situational depression. And through that willingness to sit with self and to breathe into the belly and get out of my head, I have been able to shift through some of those challenges, and it's through that shift that inspires me to help others do the same. So today, the reason why I want to talk about understanding is, to me, it sort of weaves together the whole process or whole set of ideas that we've been talking through about patience, tolerance, acceptance, and leading into understanding. So to recap, patience is just that idea of sitting with whatever is going on. And the tool that we used in that particular day that we talked about it is the idea of just breathing deeply into the belly. If you notice your brain is spinning, if you notice that you're getting triggered, slow down, pause, take some nice deep breaths with intention into your belly, and it acts as sort of a neurological reset. It acts as a reset for that cortisol that's flowing through your system. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and it just allows you to settle in for just a moment. So maybe you can respond to whatever's going on instead of reacting. Tolerance comes from this place of being patient with the discomfort. I don't always like what's going on in my world. I feel impatient, but you know what? I have the grit to tolerate it. I can put up with it. It's not comfortable, but I know that this too shall pass. So tolerance is that ability to be patient in uncomfortable situations. Acceptance comes into play when you have been tolerant and you know sometimes things aren't going to change. Acceptance comes into that place where maybe at a small level you can create change, but sometimes there's bigger things going on that you can't change. And being willing to disengage emotionally from that, being willing to say, I've done my best and I can't change this. I can't control it. That's where that idea of acceptance comes into play. And it doesn't mean rolling over and giving up. It doesn't mean complacency. It just means diffusing some of that strong emotion that comes when we're feeling challenged. So that when you diffuse that frustration, it clears your mind, it clears your energy to be able to have a little bit more creative thought, so you can come up with different solutions, so you can approach things from a different angle. And today, the idea of understanding encompasses all of that. Understanding is that recognition of, aha, huh, there might be an alternative way of looking at things. Now, it doesn't mean I have to give up my own perspective. For me, understanding is having the courage to be curious about why someone else's perspective is different than your own, or why someone has given you a set of parameters that you don't understand. And, and I have a really great story I can share that sort of weaves all of this together. So I have the good fortune of being able to travel with my mom. And she and I have gone to some really amazing places in the world together. And this particular story comes up when we were traveling in Turkey. And we had a fantastic guide. We were traveling with an amazing company called Overseas Adventure Travel. And if any of you out there are travelers, you want to know more about that company, feel free to contact me because I'll tell you all kinds of things. But we had a great guide. And one of the things that he did, as many of them do, is said, okay, this is what time it is on my watch. I want everybody to set their watches to mine, or at least recognize what the time difference is. We're going to go into this amazing place. I'm going to talk to you about it. We're going to give you some free time, and I want you to be back here on the bus at a given time. Great, no problem. So we went, and where we were at that moment in time, we were exploring an ancient city called Ani, which is on the Armenian border with Turkey, and it was the city of 10,000 churches. Absolutely amazing place. And for me, given my history, given my background, my spiritual practice, energetically, it was just amazing to be there. Amazing to be able to spend time in these ruined churches, to spend time out on this mesa overlooking these broad horizons. So we went in, he gave us some information about the place. People got to wander around on their own. I was keeping track of the time on my own watch. Got back to the bus. I was the last one there, but I was on time, right? Fine. So my mom got a little grouchy with me, and I was like, huh, okay, that's weird. So I chose to be patient. Okay, I'm going to breathe into this. She's being weird. That's on her. I don't know why she's weird. I don't need to know, whatever. And then a couple days later, we were in another really awesome place. Actually, we were in Cappadocia, which is an underground city, which is really an amazing place to explore. And we're cruising along these underground tunnels, and I was the youngest one in the group, and so I knew that I always had the ability to catch up if I hurried. So I was off, and the group was moving forward, and I wanted to go explore this little side room, and I did, and I could hear my mom going, Amy, get back here, get in line. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm this adult person. I wonder what's going on with my mom. So I was being patient. I was tolerating that it was being weird. I was like, okay, this is kind of strange. And we got out of there, and I decided I wanted to have a conversation with her about it, because it was like, all right, I'm being patient, I'm tolerating this behavior, but I want to understand. I'm curious about what's going on. And part of it is I'm accepting of the fact that, she's my mom. So I finally said, Mom, what are you afraid of? Well, I'm not afraid of anything. And I go, well, you're behaving in a way that is odd, and it's uncomfortable for me, and it's uncomfortable for you. And my practice leads me to believe, I'm thinking this to myself, that unskillful behavior comes from unmet needs. And we'll talk about that in a few days down the road. But I'm like, okay, what sort of unmet need is she having that's causing her to be a little odd? And it's like, oh, okay, I think she's afraid. Finally, it comes out that she was afraid that me being the last one there would reflect badly on her. And I'm like, huh, all right. I said, has anybody in the group complained to you about me being late? No. Have I been late? Well, you're always the last one to arrive. And I go, understand. I get that. Have I been late? Well, no. And I said, all right. So let me see if this helps explain what's going on. I want to maximize my time in these amazing places. And I know when I need to show up, and you've raised me well. You have raised me well, and I will be on time. I might be the last one, but I promise you I'll always be on time. And in this process of conversing with her, what I began to understand was that her sense of being on time was being there 5 minutes early. And I just said, all right, that is fantastic. Your observation of being on time is being early. My observation of being on time is being on time. So how about this? How about, as long as no one's complaining to you about me, you just let me do my thing. And as long as no one's complaining to me about you, I let you do your thing. And we can agree to have different perspectives. We can understand each other in different ways on what being on time means. And she's like, okay, I can do that. So moving forward, when we were leaving our hotel rooms, she would leave about 10 minutes before I would to go down to the lobby and hang out with whoever else was showing up. And I would leave a couple minutes before I had to be there. We were both on time, but we were both experiencing life within our own comfort zones. And it's through that conversation, through that willingness to be curious, to understand where someone else is coming from, and not having a need to prove oneself right. I didn't have to prove to her that I was right. I was simply asked for the latitude to work to my schedule. She didn't have to prove herself right. I gave her the latitude to work towards her schedule, and we came to this place of resolution. And from there forward, the entire trip went much more smoothly because she was no longer worried about me being late, because we'd had this conversation and this willingness to understand that we have different perspectives. So my invitation to you today is think about that as you move through your life. Are there places where you're feeling some discomfort, where you can practice patience, where you can embrace tolerance, where you can shift into acceptance, but that you can really begin to understand why someone has a different perspective than you do? And can you be comfortable with that? So I look forward to hearing from you if you want to share any of your own stories around those experiences, and or if this makes sense to you in your daily life. And I'll go ahead and leave you with that. I hope you have a fantastic day today, and I hope that your day is filled with understanding. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on Friday, and I wish you a peaceful and happy day today. Take care. Bye-bye.